I don't want to hear any bitching or complaining about this excuse for a mustache I have here. I know it doesn't look good. But you know what? It didn't look good on John Watson either. Don't worry though, I'm shaving this right off after I finish filming this. Sherlock Series 3. So Series 3 of BBC Sherlock aired 2 years after Series 2 wrapped up. Series 2 ended with, after that confrontation with Moriarty on the rooftop, Sherlock supposedly jumped off that roof to his death. But for the sake of there being a Series 3 of a show called Sherlock, that is not really what happened. So fast forward 2 years after that, and he is off the grid and presumed dead by pretty much everyone. Now whenever I watch Series 3 of Sherlock, I always like to start with that little mini episode that's on YouTube called Many Happy Returns. I love watching that. It just gets me so excited to watch Sherlock. Basically, Anderson, who works for the police, has all these theories as to how Sherlock is actually alive and he's out there somewhere and he's coming back. You see John Watson watching a videotape of Sherlock saying, "Don't worry, I'll be with you again real soon." It's like, for Sherlock fans, that must have been really cool. It's like, oh my god, he's right around the corner. We're about to see new material from Sherlock. And thus we begin with the first episode, The Empty Hearse. Sherlock is indeed #221 back. It's awesome, dude. Alright, first of all, we see how everyone has kind of moved on. Watson has definitely moved on. He's been going out with a woman named Mary Morstan, and they're having a dinner at this nice fancy restaurant, and John is actually about to pop the question to her. And that scene is one of my favorite scenes in the entire show, because that's where Sherlock comes back. Oh my god, the look on John's face. I always crack up laughing whenever I watch this scene, because naturally Watson gets pissed. He just takes him by the shoulders and just tackles him to the ground in the middle of this nice restaurant. However, I will say though that is a damn good French accent from Mr. Cumberbatch over here. So yeah, Sherlock Holmes is back now, and he's solving cases again. It's just an awesome return to form for Sherlock, and him at the end of the episode explaining how he actually leapt off the building and everyone was involved in like making it look like he was actually dead. You watch him talking about this whole process that was so perfectly planned, you're like, oh my god, that actually makes sense. And the best part is, you totally buy it. Or at least I did. My favorite episode of this season, however, is the second episode, The Sign of Three. This is also one of my favorite episodes of the entire show, if not my absolute favorite. Because it's such a perfect mix of like filler episode and main story arc. It's actually both. It's John and Mary's wedding, and Sherlock is the best man, so he has to make a speech. And it is so goddamn entertaining just to see him up there trying to do the best he can. And of course he fails at first, but after a while he starts doing alright, and it ends up being a really heartfelt speech that he gives. You know, about how he never expected to be anyone's best friend, and he is with John Watson. It gets me every time I watch it. And then he goes on and starts telling stories about these strange cases that he and John went on, and that's where the casual filler part comes in, but it's still really fun to watch anyways. Because like, you know, these are flashbacks, you know, he's telling it in his best man speech, but they're really cool cases anyways. This episode to me is like the calm before the storm, because in the third episode, His Last Vow, we get a brand new antagonist, and that is Charles Augustus Magnuson. Charles Magnuson is known as the Napoleon of blackmail. He's played by Lars Mikkelsen, who is actually Mads Mikkelsen's older brother. He has this hidden vault that is full of files on everyone in like the Western world, and it's actually really scary to watch him operate. He just somehow knows everyone's weakness, their pressure point, and he pretty much holds it over you going, I'm gonna do this unless you do this. You know, that's what blackmail is. And it's scary, you know, it scares the living shit out of Sherlock. Needless to say, it's an awesome episode. So yeah, Series 3 of Sherlock is my favorite season of the entire show so far. Series 4 has been alright. That second episode was actually really cool, but when I think of the epitome of this show, I will think of Series 3. And here I'm actually also going to talk about The Abominable Bride, which was a special episode that came out about a year ago. I actually didn't even watch it until a few weeks ago because I didn't think it was canon, but that's not the case. It actually is canon. It mostly takes place in like Victorian England, you know, 1880 something, but it actually is part of the Sherlock storyline. I can't say how because it would spoil it, but once you watch it all the way through to the end, it's actually really cool. It's not really part of Series 3, although it is according to Netflix, but it is worth watching. So Sherlock Series 3, have you watched it? What is your favorite episode, and what is your favorite season of the show so far? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe.